I sure joined from Gray Daniels Toyota over there in Brandon, Mississippi, by my man, my high school classmate, Clint Campbell, the internet sales director of the car dealership over there. We thank you so much for joining us this early
Well,
in the
thanks for
morning.
having
I
me.
can't even I'm already messing up talking. So I've got a room full here with me at Velma Jackson High School, and we're recording this for all of our friends in Madison County Schools. Our alma mater, Madison Central High School, Rosa Scott, Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, the Academic Options Center, and our YouTube channel. This is our college career readiness class, and we're in the marketing, sales, and service career cluster, which you are such a big part of and have made a great name for yourself in. And we thank you so much for taking some time for us today.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, before we get into what all you do at Great Daniels and how great an industry car sales is, we'll start at the beginning. We graduated together, and it seems like so long ago. Be 26 years this year at Madison Central. And while we were in high school, you started your journey of working face to face with customers, working in sales. You were the guy at North Park for several years, working at Buckle there, which is still there on the second floor in North Park,
Hmm.
and then you were the manager at Journeys. So just take us through that because everybody thought it was cool to work in the mall, but having those kind of jobs is a great setup for getting into several industries.
It was. So I started out selling clothes at Journeys, and that was a lot of fun. No, that Buckle, excuse me. I did that for about 3 years. I got to meet lots of people. I learned how to work with customers, learned how to sell. I learned how to work on commission, which was kind of set me my career path.
Yeah.
Um, did that for about, I guess, 2.5, 3 years. And I started working at Journeys. I became a district manager with them. I was with them for about 9 years, and that just continued the my path working with customers, selling. Then it got me ready for management. I had to start out being a store manager, moved up to district manager over, I think I had 9 stores, so probably a total of about 50, 60 employees to work with then. I learned how to work with customers and learn how to work with sales staff, how to train, how to motivate, and how to reach sales goals and quotas, and put me the path to where I am right now in the car business.
Yeah, and I know you went to Holmes Community College, which where was the scholarship when we were in school that they have available now with a 20 on the ACT is 100% tuition scholarship at Holmes Community College. I mean, Lord have mercy,
Wow.
that'd have been something for us. And then you went to Southern Miss as well. And I know you're proud of your degrees and you worked hard, but you've always said, and I because we've been talking about this the last few months. If people want to get into the sales business and they want to really make a name for themselves right out of high school, you don't necessarily need to go the college route to get into this business and make a great living. So you moved into the car industry and you've worked I know you've been with a few dealerships. You've been over there at Gray Daniels for a while, and you're the internet
Hmm.
sales director of all the internet car sales there at the dealership. So even though you do have degrees, this is a job that you could have worked your way up to without necessarily going to college.
100%. It's a job where your personality does most of the work. Your personality and your get-go attitude. Um, Being a commission-based business, one of the best things about that is you get paid on how hard you work. A lot of jobs you don't have any room to increase your income. You make the same amount of money as the guy next to you who's not doing anything at all. So this business, it's a old saying, you eat what you kill. So if you want to make a good income, you want to do very well, you put the extra work in, you learn how to get better at sales, you learn how to talk to people, and have really good discipline. You can really succeed in this business and go very, very far and make bukus of money.
Oh, absolutely. And it really is about, and this isn't a shot at the kids I have in here with me, but I think this entire generation, and I know you have kids that are getting the teenage age.
Hmm.
Hold on one second. All
Recording in progress.
right, sorry about that. Had a little something had to handle, but uh, it really is about, this whole generation. And again, a lot of intelligence in this room with me, a lot of smart kids in our district. We went to school in the district, so we know the level of excellence Madison County Schools has, and you've got kids that are getting up in that age as well.
Hmm.
But with the technology taking over and the social media and everybody just so eat up with their phones, I think a lot of thing that is lost is that face-to-face communication. Now, there's still a lot of emails, a lot of emails sent. There's a lot of
Oh
online
yeah.
chat. There's a lot of phone calls, but that face-to-face communication is so vital, not just in this business, but in any business, because it is amazing what you can sell when you look at somebody in the eye and you are confident about what you're talking about. You can say, "Here's what I can offer you. Here's what it costs, and here's why it's going to benefit you in the long run."
Oh, 100%. They've been trying for years to find ways not to have salespeople selling products, but it's always failed. Every model has failed,
Yeah.
especially with large purchases. You don't just go buy a house because you click a button online. You really don't go buy a car that way. Those are things you want to see, feel, touch. You need that person to answer your questions for you. Uh, it's we try, there's been plenty of models to try to make it where the car sales is an online only thing, but again, they don't work very well. You see some of the companies like Carvana, which has been just hemorrhaging money for years trying to run that model. It doesn't work. It's that face-to-face interaction to have that person you can give a call to after you purchase something. You say, "Hey, I have this issue," or "Hey, I have this question. Can you help me out?" I mean, you don't get that from just clicking a button online. Um, you want to buy something from somebody you like also. You want to feel comfortable with the person you're doing business with. And you don't get that from just a text, email, things like that. It has to be a face-to-face communication. And the internet sales, like which I oversee here, the whole mission of that is to have a customer come to the dealership for that face-to-face contact. We initiate the conversation, we get the ball rolling there, but in the end, the transaction still takes place face-to-face in the dealership. And you just can't replace that at all.
Big time. And also not only is it, being good at talking, being good at listening. Because yeah, you want to make the commission, but you also want that person to say, "Hey, I got great customer service from this person. You need to go talk to them." You don't want to sell somebody something that you know they're not going to be able to afford or that you know is not going to fit their needs as a customer. Because yeah, you may make a little bit more money on something, but if you know you've sold somebody something that was in their price range and exactly what they wanted, they're going to say, "Hey, give Clint a call over there at Gray Daniels. He's going to take care of you." So I think a lot of car salesmen have gotten a bad rap over the years, and I know a
Hmm.
lot of salespeople who are like, "Oh, they're just going to sell me something I don't need just to get the price up." Well, I don't think that's true. I think the best salespeople are going to give what the give the customer the best fit for their needs. Maybe let them know about something that they didn't know existed. I was in sales, and a lot of times people didn't even know something was available until I told them. So
Oh,
it is
exactly.
about putting the information out there and say, "Hey, I don't know if you knew this, but if you do this, here's what you can get on top of that."
Oh, 100%. There's that cliche thing that, oh, they're just trying to sell the most expensive thing to me a lot. Quite frankly, that's not how you make money. You sell the least expensive vehicle that fits that customer's needs is the one you do the best on because you don't have to worry about trying to sell the vehicle by price. You're selling the value of the vehicle to the customer at that point. And that's huge right there. And we do have a bad reputation in this business, and that's really from back in the 70s and 80s where you did have a lot of shysters in the business. You had a lot of people that weren't good, honest people. But you look at my staff here, I have a bunch of family people, people with married with children, single moms with kids, things like that. They're good people. I have, you know, good godly people. I have just good people that work for us. The years of that shady car salesman, those are way in the past. Our job here is to make sure we find the vehicle that best fits our customer's needs. In fact, when a customer comes in, we do a needs assessment, which is kind of like going to the hospital having triage. You don't just don't go to the doctor and walk in and he gives you a shot for a you came in for a broken bone. In this business, we want to figure out what the customer's needs are, and we're going to find the vehicle that fits those needs the best. And you can't, that's how you do business. That's how you do things the right way. And I've always said, you can have a great day selling a car, but you can't have a great career if you only sell that person one car. So you
Yeah,
have to have
and
the
the cool
referral
thing is,
business.
actually the last vehicle I bought was from Gray Daniels, and
Hmm.
the person that sold it to me isn't there anymore. But she did an unbelievable job because she said, "Look, I'll pick you up at your house at this time," and she picked me up in the car she was trying to sell me. So I got to drive the car that she was trying to sell me to the dealership. So and I was like, "That's pretty dang cool," and I was really impressed by that. And something small. And, when I was in sales, we called it pitch, put in the customer's hand. If you can let a
Hmm.
customer feel something, touch it, especially if it's something tangible, they aren't going to want you to take it back from them. It is It is a mental thing. But she listened to what I needed. She knew for my needs and how much I drive something that would be good for me, and it fit perfect. And I still drive it, and I'm very happy with the vehicle.
Well, that's how we do business. That's the right way to do things. You have to figure out by listening to the customer what's the best fit for them. It doesn't matter what we want to sell and like that doesn't there's that means nothing right there. It's all about what's the best fit for our customers. In the day, if we find the best fit for them that fits their budget, and give them a good experience. They'll tell their friends about it. When someone says, "Hey, I've been thinking about getting a car. Hey, go see this guy." Or when it's time for the next vehicle, when maybe it's time to buy the child a car, maybe buy the spouse a car, or time to replace that one, they're like, I had a good experience with so and so. Let's go see him again. And that's how you have a career in sales.
Absolutely. Now, talk a little bit about the schedule because car dealerships are unique for the most part. Is most of them are closed on Sunday. So if you're a person
Hmm.
that wants to go to church with your family, or you want to go fishing, or you want to do something, or you want to watch football all day Sunday, it does offer that. And I had a job where I was off on Sundays, and I loved it. But you guys are really busy on Saturday, so
Hmm.
it is kind of a balancing act. Um, some people like that, some people don't because but it's important to know, yeah, you can make a lot of money in this, but you need to know the kind of hours that are expected. So talk about the hours in the car business because it is kind of different from other ones.
It is, and it's changed a lot over the years. Back when I started, gosh, 15 years ago, you're working from 8 to 8:30, 6 days a week. It's changed. We're working 5 days a week. We're working on average about 50 hours a week, coming in at 8:30. And depending on what your shift is that day, 8:30 to 5:30, 6:30, or 8. Sometimes we have late nights, so customers are coming later on. We stay late. The latest I've ever been is 1 o'clock, and that was just one time. That was a crazy exception. But usually we're going
Wow.
home at between 8 and 8:30. Um, but if you're staying late, that means you're selling a car. It means you're making money. You're bringing some income home. So it's not something you feel bad about having to stay late to work a car deal because that's just a bigger paycheck right there. Um, the hours are more than other businesses, but then again, if you want to have above average income, you have to do a work above average, hours, and it's just a little bit different than your normal industry. You're working a 40-hour work week like most people do. Most people are limited to their income at that point. But when you're
Yeah.
working a commission job, you do work extra hours. There's no limit income. We don't cap people's income in the sales
Wow.
business.
Yeah,
It's
and then and I always say when you're commission based and you're based on sales, you're going to be working at a lot of times the people are off,
mhm.
but like you said, you're not capping your income. Now, but on along the same lines, I know you've caught the car bug and you're in for life and you love it.
Oh yeah.
But this could be a great industry. There are people that have come into car dealerships and said, "Hey, I have this job available. You're a great salesperson. Do you want to come work for me?" So if somebody wanted to start out in sales right out of high school and learn at a place like Gray Daniels, you guys are also great about getting people that sales experience to move into other industries because some people they don't want to work that many hours. They don't want to work on Saturdays, and that's
Hmm.
understandable. But you guys also have had tons of people cut their teeth with you guys, learn how to sell, and then moved into other industries that also need salespeople.
I've seen that time and time again. All kinds of stuff. I've seen people go into like the 18-wheeler transportation industry, going as being like a head dispatcher. I've seen people go into insurance. I've seen people do all kinds of stuff. But if you have a good basis in selling, you can have a job anywhere, anytime. If you can sell something, you are employed. It's that simple.
Yeah, and in every single industry, no matter where we go, you go to the hospital, they have salespeople. You go to
Mhm.
I know we're both big sports fans. You're a big Saints fan like me, you don't
Hmm.
think that they don't have salespeople? I
Oh,
mean,
100%.
every industry has salespeople. You go to the Apple store, you go to you work in the clothing store. There's always salespeople. So if you don't want to work those long hours of the car dealership, that's fine. We have a lot of people that want to have more time with their families, and that's completely understandable. But getting that basis in sales, it is amazing where it can take you in any industry you want.
100%. I don't disagree with that at all. Um, and not just that, but in the car business itself, there's a lot of opportunities. You have sales, you have finance positions that you get promoted to after you've done a good job in sales, sales manager, and then we have service. We have service
Okay.
advisors, which is a sales position also. If you're into fixing vehicles, we have technician jobs, parts jobs. There's just so many opportunities in the business. And everything here, other than one or two positions, is all commission based.
Wow.
It's no cap on the income. It's what you produce.
Well, I do have some questions from the students, and I love this first one. This because I think this is the best question to ask a salesperson. This is Jeremiah Williamson. He's in ninth grade, one of our football players here at Velma Jackson, and he asked, "How do you deal with an unruly customer in the sales industry?"
That is a really good question. Really, the best thing you can do when someone's been unruly is don't have that same energy. You keep calm, you keep cool, and you stay the line. You still try to reach your objective of finding the best product that fits the customer's needs and budget. And you do that by a couple different ways, but the way I like to do it best is just making sure I do a good job of actually selling my product. A lot of times, unruly customers, it's not so much that they're just angry people. They haven't been sold on the product yet, and so their only defense is to be kind of angry and unruly. So starting off doing a really good job, giving them a good experience, and actually show them the value of the product you're trying to sell them. It can disarm a lot of people. And if you keep a good, calm, collected demeanor, it's also very disarming as well. You just find some common ground to talk about, and then it's pretty simple after that.
Yeah, and it's all about offering solutions, and and the funny thing is, most of the time, they just want somebody, they just want to vent for a second, and they're like, "Okay, I'm sorry, I just got upset." Now,
Hmm.
if you just let them finish, 90 per I would say about 90% of the time, they'll come down if you come down with them. So that is a great question, and
Hmm.
even if you're not at a commission-based sales job, at some point you're going to have to deal with people face to face. So I know a
Hmm.
lot of these teenagers don't like it, but it is coming. I like this one. This is Cameron Nettles. He's in 10th grade, another one of our football players here. And he asked, "Is there something else you would have done other than sales when or you thought you would have done other than sales when you were in college?"
Yeah, actually, I wanted to be an attorney for the longest time for most of my life. And then I started meeting attorneys and realizing overall they're not the happiest people. And so that's kind of changed my direction right there. And then once I got in the business, I learned something else. We all think that people in that career just make hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars as attorneys, and it's a very few select that make the kind of money we can make in the car business.
And talk about
That
working
shocked
some
me.
hours. Talk
Oh
about working
God.
some hours. They work way more than car people, especially if it's a big case. And then the training to become an attorney is another trap in itself.
And
You
the
got to have a
cost.
degree. You got to have the law degree. And law school is not cheap, no matter where you go. But
Mm-mm.
not discouraging people from being attorneys if that's what they want to do. But we're all about giving the facts here and let them know what's going to be expected. And we'll have some attorneys later this semester, but that is a very valid point. I love this question. This is Cortez Maxwell. He's in 11th grade, and he asked, "How do you establish trust with your customer?"
Oh, that's a really good question. Um, I was talking earlier about doing a needs assessment, giving street someone with respect and then showing them that you're actually here to help them out and not just try to sell them something. That's how you do that. It's actually taking the time and listening to what their needs are and 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 helping those needs, filling those needs. There's an old saying that there's a reason we have one mouth and two ears. You're supposed to listen twice as much as you speak. And if you're listening to what your customers are saying, what they're telling you, they'll trust you a whole lot more, as opposed to just trying to bully over them and try to force them into something. It's all about listening to the needs and fulfilling those needs.
Absolutely. I got one more. This is Erin Gaines. She's in ninth grade, and she asked, "What is the most fun or most rewarding part of your job?"
I'll tell you what, I'll tell you about one sale in particular. This happened about 2 months ago. It was a lady, she went through some rough times. She lost a child. She had a divorce. She went through some really tough financial situations. And she'd been driving a car that was it was on its last leg. It was barely running. And just something just told her, I'm gonna just stop by there. She put an internet lead in. We talked to her. She came in and she's like, I'm just gonna come by there and nothing's gonna happen. Um, she'd been working getting her credit built back up after she had some tough times. And she gave me the opportunity to try to get her a new car, to get to she needed transportation bad. Hers was really about to blow up. But I was able to get things worked out. Took some time to listen to what she needed as far as her budget. I got it worked out, and she just started bawling, crying because this is the only thing she says, the only good thing that's happened to her in a long time. When I can see somebody just smiling and being happy with their situation changing just from getting a new car. That's very fulfilling right there. Her hard work she's put in after going through so much loss and ups and misery, and seeing the joy in her face was just it lit me up. I was so excited about that. Went home smiling. It was awesome.
That is awesome. Well, we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for taking some time for us. But a few things before we go, because there's a couple things I want to hit on. First of all, we graduated together. We graduated on the same day on
Hmm.
2000. We went through the same school district these kids are in now. And a conversation that I have with a lot of the same people, because we've had a few of our classmates on this platform, and a lot of the conversation I have with them is that even though we went to a great school with a great community and great teachers, we did not get the same information. And that's not a knock on the people that were in charge then. It wasn't something that was thought of to be taught. So how important is it for these kids to really understand that that the effort of getting them these options now is so important as they make decisions going through high school and college.
I think it's huge. I think a lot of us made mistakes saying, I'm going to get a degree in this, I'm going to go to school for that, and then realize this isn't what I want to do. This sounded cool, but it's not, I don't want to do this. Um, actually talking to people that are out in the field working various careers, that would have made a world of difference right there. I might have chosen a different path. I may not have. I don't know. But learning about what's out there, what people are doing, learning the truth about stuff would have made a big difference right there. A lot of stuff looks really good on paper and looks all flashy and shiny, but until you've actually heard about what the real thing, it's kind of hard to really have a real good, honest opinion about it.
Yeah, and I'm just grateful that the district's given me this platform and that great people like yourself that I went to school with have been able to give back. So that means a lot to me, and I think these kids need to know that the district has not always had this focus, and it's great that they are being given all these options. Now, also, if anybody's looking to buy a car, Great Daniels Toyota over there in Brandon.
We got you set up. We'll help you out.
Yeah, I mean, if they want, they can even start the process online where they can
Hmm.
chat, and if if their parents need a car, and you can walk them through the process and let them know exactly what it takes. And look, you just said you might be surprised on what you could afford. I think
Exactly.
you don't have to get something brand new off the lot. You guys have a great used inventory that is
Hmm.
extremely affordable.
Very true. There's a reason we're the number one used car dealer in the state. We listen to our customers' needs and we fulfill those. That makes a world of difference right there. And that's been a big part of our success.
Now, the last thing before we go, you mentioned that if you can sell, you can always have a job. So, as these kids go through high school, and I know I can speak for all the other teachers that always see this, is that it's just about getting these kids comfortable speaking, getting them comfortable, maybe being in a kind of awkward situation talking. So, whether they decide to be a car salesperson or not, how important is it to build those sales skills as they get ready to move into these industries they want to be in?
Oh, it's huge. When you're getting interviewed, you're selling yourself. You might have a fantastic resume, awesome credentials, but if you can't sell yourself, it doesn't matter. That's huge right there. We've we've interviewed plenty of people here that just on paper everything looks awesome, but when we talk to them, it just wasn't going to be a right fit.
Yeah.
So learning how to sell yourself, learning how to talk and communicate really well is huge. It's everything, and not just in the sales, but in any career you get into. Unless you're going to start your own business, you better be able to sell yourself. But if you have your own business, I guess you got to sell yourself as well too, or else you're not going to be very successful.
Yeah, then you have to sell to customers because you need the customers more than they need you. So that's
Hmm.
a whole nother rabbit hole that we could go down. But I know you got to get back to work, and we thank you so much for joining us today. And again, go see him over at Great Daniels in Brandon. My man, Clint Campbell. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate that.
I talk to you soon, buddy.
Take care.